Okay, here we go. It's getting a little too heated, so I wanted to get the stream operational before the end game. All right. Okay. 2 people left, and they're fighting. Stop fighting. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not good. Whew. Should not have swapped that. That was very, very close. Well, it's a good thing I changed the stream around there. Okay. Let me double check that the audio is functioning, and then we'll dive into the next. And let me double check. Boy, everything is really sluggish right now for the internet. If it's very possible we're going to have issues with this. So just be forewarned, this may be a bugged out stream. I don't know what's going on, but right now, it's not just my place. It seems a lot of places are having internet problems right now. What I mean is up here in Alaska. I've seen problems at work, I've seen problems on my phone, problems at the coffee shop I was working at, problems here. So it's not just one machine, it's multiple machines, and it's proving to be a little annoying. Yeah, it's gonna happen. So anyway, should be good to go for the test here.
You serious?
All right, there we go. Okay, put that back to mute on my side, and we're good to go. Oh, golly. So, there has been a lot of improvements to Castercraft over the last couple of weeks and months. The actual updated site only came live less than a month ago. There has been so much that I've been doing on the back end to make it stable. And today was a bit of hunting for bugs because a whole lot of new bugs suddenly arose. Partially the reason why I was having internet problems, because areas that I had dealt with had been completely compromised in terms of the code, and so thus it was crashing. So I had to redo it. Thankfully, it didn't take too terribly long, because at this point I kind of know what some of the solutions are. But that was not the case earlier this year. It's what made the whole system delayed for its release. But I'm also getting very close to having the first project put out there. I'm waiting to hear back from people who are reading it right now, who are giving their 2 thoughts on it, and then I'll move on to the next stage of putting that out there. I'm taking this first one easy and slow, kind of like with the first iteration of Silverado, because I'm trying to learn the process and avoid problems. Golly. Well, it turned out well. Swap that out, and we're good to... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I like that one. It's kind of like... I think I've used this one before. Looks familiar. Yeah, same old stuff. Well, this next week, we're going to have 2 different streams that I'm going to be visiting. I'm going to be... Oh, golly. That machine gun's not very good. Where are you? There you are. Huzzah. So anyway, going to be on 2 streams as a guest. One is going to be with Daramuth. Daramuth's a good fella. He's been interviewing streamers for the last year and a half, and he's done very well for himself. I think he's at almost 1,000 people. He's really figured out a good rhythm for trying to do streams. Oh, castle. Oof. Like I said, that machine gun's not very good. But anyway, that's going to be taking place on Tuesday. On Thursday, I'm going to be over with Dadman Walking 55. He's another good fella. Been on his stream before. And going to be talking Bigfoot again. Again, meaning that I've been talking about Bigfoot quite a bit over the last couple of weeks and months. I was on after the weekend talking about it, but this time I'm going to be over on Dadman Walking stream to talk about it and go over the argument, why it exists. So if you find that stuff interesting and you haven't heard the story before, it's going to be a good time to tune in and have maybe your worldview challenged a little bit and to start to think about the possibilities. You know, on that note, there's something I've been wanting to kind of explore. And it has to... Oh, wait just a second. Double check something. Okay, we're good. I thought I accidentally muted myself. So, I've been noticing a whole lot of bots the last few weeks. Well, yesterday we had a total of, I think it was 30 bots. 30 bots, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it was on YouTube, and drove up the watch time by, I think it said 38 hours, something like that. Which feels problematic because it's not real, and that's the thing that troubles me. I like things that are real. Darn it. Oof. I'm not very good with that thing. It's fine. But anyway, the bots showed up and drove up the watch time substantially. And while I am glad that it pushes me closer towards the monetization area, it also means that you're not connecting with real people. And that I do not like. It doubled my watch time. That's how many bots showed up. Doubled it. Not a fan. But anyway, that doesn't happen very often, thankfully, but it is happening more often, which makes me think that it's probably going to be a bigger issue moving forward. As a result, the streaming world is being hit hard. Now, I'm not doing this for the money. If I was doing this for the money, I'd be doing something completely different. I would be doing roleplay. I would be diving headlong into the world of No Pixel or something along those lines. I actually did get an invite to a server, a private server in which I would be doing roleplay. Didn't happen. But that's the reason why that's why I would be doing something completely different if I was trying to do it for the money. What I try to do it for is the impact. I have the opportunity to get to interact with people that maybe don't have a whole lot of folks to spend time with. I get to converse and pass on some wit and wisdom that was passed on to me, and now I get to turn around and try and pass it on to everyone else. Some people get something out of it, some people don't. But that's what drives me. Hey, bot. Surprise. It's weird I threw that item there. I didn't mean to do that. What the? He did it again. Wonder why. Greetings, a random guy. By the way, do you play with your viewers? On the occasion. Right now, it is open to people that are part of the Discord right now. We used to do this far more often, where it'd be kind of group activities. There was times where we had a full squad kind of set up, but that hasn't really happened for a long time. So it's kind of become more discussion sessions for the sake of it. And I'm not really spending a whole lot of time these days doing these sorts of streams. I've been focusing primarily on the art and animation stuff, which is part of a completely different channel called Castercraft. Right now, random guy, you're on the Alaska Man Jeff. That is where I got started. Well, kind of. That's where I started doing streaming. We did discussions, we did movie reviews, did community games. And then it kind of tapered off because the interest in that stuff started to fade. Which, by the way, a good point is that the world of game streaming is not going to last. And I know that not a lot of people believe this, but I do believe game streaming is nearing its end in terms of an industry. Greetings, Inertia, who says, hi, Jeff, and also mentioning about random guy. Indeed. How you doing, Inertia? Just a reminder, folks, we are spread across 3 platforms right now. We're on Rumble, we're on YouTube, and we're on Twitch. We got our start on Twitch and eventually migrated to Rumble. We avoided YouTube for a very long time, and this was back when I was actually doing like group streams with folks. We avoided YouTube because it kept crashing and it became impossible to try and stream on it. Well, now with the tool of Restream, we have that ability again. It just isn't quite the big streams that we used to have, which is perfectly fine. Day 3 of being paid without doing anything. Indeed. Hopefully it is spent with a lot of thought, and that you get a chance to really think about what the future is going to hold. Definitely take some time to consider what the future is going to be like, and then when you're recovered, you'll be able to pursue it with vigor. Oh, great, the machine gun again. You know, I used to be a part of a game stream years ago. It was actually pretty big, and it was actually quite fun to do. What the? Oh, I remember this item. Oh, I like it. I've missed that goo gun. By the way, I used to be a part of those big streams, and after I no longer was a part of that community, I never really got invited to those sorts of things again. Which, I gotta say, in some ways I kind of regret that, but in other ways I can completely understand that things like that are for a time. And I'm not somebody that's a really big gamer. I do game, it's just not as much as what another person would do. I have some issues with the gaming world, but I still want to be a part of it, and so thus, that's one of the reasons why I got into this game. Even though it's not my favorite game in the world, I still do it because it's a very popular game in most communities, and it's an easy one for people to get to jump in and participate. Ooh, fire. Okay, I don't want that. Swap out that. There we go. Drink that and grab that and grab that. Perfect. What the heck is that? Oh. Bingo. It feels weird not working. I feel unproductive. I can understand that. I went through that. I actually went for a time frame of no work whatsoever, and I did it to be able to contemplate what the future would hold. Oof. During that time frame, I was able to come up with a lot of ideas that now I'm pursuing. So it was a very long time that I was without work, but it was also necessary, and it actually panned out. Now, it's not going to work for everybody. For me, it was, I was very fortunate with that, but it wasn't enjoyable. I will definitely say that. It was not enjoyable, but it was necessary. I play casual games, Traveler's Rest, Starfew Valley. I'm familiar with that one, and Helldivers 2. Yes, a lot of people do that. My game selections are pretty minimal. Stardew. Oh, okay. Don't know that one either. You know, when I was dealing with my bit of unemployment, one of the things that I found kind of fascinating was... Oh, I wanted that. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it, but that you kind of need it for strategies here. Okay, grab that. There we go. So during my unemployment, oh, whoa, I really flew there. Oh, okay, so that's how you do that. Anyway, so unemployment. I realized with the time that I had that there was a lot of good that could be done when you were unemployed. Work is important, but there's also other types of work that sometimes gets overlooked. And one of those things that I really came to lean into and could appreciate was the importance of being able to care for the well-being of others. If you're too overcome with work, you will start to treat people a little poorly. And a lot of folks will feel disconnected. And when I was unemployed, I actually had that ability to interact with people in a lot more meaningful way. Stardew, you play as a farmer doing community building. Traveler's Rest, you run an inn/bar. Helldivers, you shoot bugs and destroy any threat to Super Earth. Definitely not democratic propaganda for democracy. Yeah, it's man, there's a lot of people that were playing that game when I was working with the streamers. Man, I'm jumping far. I have no idea what item is doing this for me. Huzzah. Okay, here we go. Goku. Oh, that was a brutal meltdown. Man, this ability to be able to jump that far with this sword is great. It's like there's no gravity. I'm jumping on the moon. I'm John Carter. Hammer. Oh, golly. I gotta get that hammer. Hammer time. Come on, hammer it. There we go. Drink that. Hammer time. Oh, I messed that up. I'm out of practice. Oh, this low gravity is actually too hard. Oh, golly, I'm in trouble. Heal faster. Into the storm with ye. Ha ha ha, you failed. Sword and hammer of doom. I'm alert. Need to lock in my freelance thing. Indeed. Work hard. And don't let me distract you in that, okay? Make sure that doesn't become a distraction. GG's, you're supposed to be lurking. By the way, folks, you'll notice over there on the left of the screen, there is something that says stars. Now, I'm going to take a brief moment to show, hopefully, how this thing works. So, if you're part of Castercraft, you have the ability to participate by having stream sounds that are going to play. So if you want to be able to have someone talk about a demon llama.
Demon llama!
Demon llama? Where?
You have the ability to do that. Well, if you come over here and you type in stars into the code area, you can redeem that. And you can be able to have pieces of silver to participate and contribute to these activities. Anyway, that's how it works. Greetings, Wolfie Bank. How's it going tonight? Creative question: do you ever get into making music? I'm horrible with making music. Horrible, absolutely terrible. Now, granted, I've never really been properly trained, so I don't really know one way or the other if I'm good or not. It's one of the creative things that I truly have no background in. I played piano for years. I played guitar for 2 years. No, it was just a year. I tried playing the violin a little bit. I did the recorder. I couldn't do music for anything. I'm a professional listener. What I found, though, was one day I went to a recital, which, by the way, I hated recitals. Hated them with a deep, gut-wrenching passion. And there I was, having to do maybe my sixth major recital. I get up and I play something for my second year because I couldn't do anything better. And up comes a 5-year-old who then plays Mozart perfectly, flawlessly. And I was like, well, some of us are just not meant to be musicians. I learned the hard way that I suck at it. But in terms of creating music, now that's where I don't know. I've tinkered with it. Oh golly, there you are. Abomination. Oh, come on, the abomination got me. Greetings, Sebastian. I'm with some friends at the moment. Indeed, hope you have fun with those friends. Thanks for stopping by all the same. Be sure to focus on your friends because you're part of their community. And you get a chance to make a difference. But anyway, I finally sat down and learned the process of making music on, what was the software? It's FL Studio. That was it. I downloaded FL Studio and gave it a try. And you know what? I almost figured it out. Well, correction. I figured it out with 2 instruments. And it didn't sound... It did not sound good. It didn't sound bad. It just didn't sound good. That's a shame, honestly. If I could make music, there's a lot of things I would want to make music for. Because I understand like the top-notch stuff that I want to be able to have for like my videos and whatnot. I know the sound, I know the feel, the instruments. I can't make it work. If I could, I would be making stuff that sounds like Howard Shore. Or just like the Balto soundtrack. I would love to make a Balto sounding suite. I can't do it. No matter how many times I've tried. But that's because I need a guide to get started. And I got too many projects to sit down and really try and figure it out from start to finish. And I failed as a kid. And so obviously I'm going to be handicapped in that. Oh well. I'm sorry my stream chat lagged out. I had to catch up. Should be good now. Okay, I understand. Yeah, I'm not very good at music. I did horrible growing up. Something where I do wish, if I could go back and learn how to make music, I really would. I would love to know how to make good quality music. But I don't have that skill. Surprise, buddy. Oh, that was close. That was very close. I know you're going to hate this, but Christy and I are using AI to help with our game music. The pain. The gut-wrenching pain. You know, AI actually, one of the very, very, very first iterations of it was used for music. It was one of the first applications of AI. Ooh, that worked. The second thing that AI was used for was news articles. Interestingly enough, the person I knew who did my class, who taught my class for news and professional writing, actually was a top-notch reporter. But she got out when she realized that the industry was collapsing. And so she went over to try and teach people how to do proper reporting. And it has served me pretty well. And I'm very grateful that I got a chance to learn from her about how to actually write professionally. But she changed. Oh, is that the jump thing? Yes, I think so. Ooh, what is this one? Wonderful. Well, I can't, I do know that a lot of people do still get a lot out of the AI stuff. I'll never get something out of it, but that's because I have made my decision. And whether my decision is right or wrong, time will tell. And I do believe time will, I do believe that I'll kind of be vindicated in a lot of things. But I also realize that there's so many... Oh, come on. I couldn't swap that thing fast enough. I do realize I'm one of... I'm not necessarily in the majority opinion yet, but I am noticing the tides are shifting. If you've noticed, there's been a great increase in the number of anti-AI people. Which is going to be interesting because I think right now we've had enough people get burned by AI to where you have the people that are all for it and the people that are adamantly against it. I do think that we're going to hit a point, though, eventually in the next couple of years where people are going to be having to make very, very tough decisions about what side they're going to be on. At which point, everyone's going to have to make their own decisions. Now, I have a terrible gut feeling, as you all know. I don't have to reiterate it. But for the here and the now, it can be beneficial in some circumstances, sometimes as placeholders. But here's something else to remember. Eventually, it's a good idea to be able to still go back and fill in with your own work. Now, here's the reason why. Let's say that you finish your project. So you're working on a game. You finish your project. You publish it. Now you have to try and inspire people to use it, to actually go for it. And for some people, they will definitely want to give it a try. There are some people that are going to be very skeptical, though, and that part is going to be hard to overcome. And it's something to just remember, because I didn't realize how much this year was going to see people turn on AI, but it already has begun. There's artists who refuse to promote stuff if it has AI. There's things where people start to review bomb something because it's AI. The animosity is growing because it's hurt people who are artists, musicians, things like that. So by all means, when you get to the stage of actually wanting to publish, be sure to go back and use the AI to come up with ideas. But definitely want to publish it with all of as much original content as possible. I think it will really serve you well. Again, that's my opinion on those things, and my opinion doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to be all for it. But it's some 2 cents that I'm kind of catching from other folks. So it's important to remember. But I still hope that you find success with it. I may have my own opinions on how that sort of stuff is supposed to function, but it doesn't mean that I want to see a project fail. I want to see it succeed. I want you to be able to find the opportunity to thrive and be able to move on to bigger and better projects as a result. So in that sense, I hope you find good success with it, even if I'm not happy about the AI stuff. Oh, that shotgun. Nah, I'll pass on that. Come back here, you coward. Of course, I'm the one who blew him away, so who's the coward? Oh, he's got the other sword. Ho 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 ho. Uh-oh. That's not good. Oh, no. Bad. Phew. Okay. Heal. That was very close. Okay, grab this, drink that, because I want to help. We have gauntlets. Oh, we got gauntlets. Okay. Oh, I've wanted to use these again for a while. are you, buddy? There you go. Oh, he's invisible. Yes. Oh, that's good. Oh, no, 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 no. That's not good. Oh, golly. Oh, this is very close. Tea time. Wow, that was close. The more I use it, the more it feels like a mirror. I hope I'm not coming off as rude by always bringing it up. It's okay that we differ in opinion, yeah? Yes, it does. See, we have different choices that we make in life. And so while the idea of AI is incredibly offensive to me, I understand that we're right now in the time period where a lot of people don't quite see this eye to eye. You're at a different stage in your journey, and you're going to find like an in-between area. I'm going to be a hardliner because that's my gut reaction to this. And it kind of comes off with the realization that somebody came up to me one day and said, "You're going to be made irrelevant." And they said it with glee. I was like, what? And so it made me very, very staunchly against it. Since then, I have learned all the ins and outs of how AI works, and I've learned how tyrants want to use it, and it deeply unsettles me. China is actually the reason that really made me convinced that there's something very dark and sinister about it. Now, that's not necessarily going to be understood by everybody. Not everyone's going to have the same experience with it. I have had a very negative experience with it. I've seen people like Inertia, who is lurking in the background right now. He lost his job just this week because of AI. And so when I see AI, I have a heart that is for people that are going to lose their positions. Are people going to find a better balance to it? Undoubtedly. But for me, I'm too focused on people that are like me. And I want to make sure that they have a chance to stand against the AI. To be able to have a fighting chance and to not be thought of as expendable. Because that's what a lot of companies want to do. They desperately want to just remove people. And in fact, there was actually somebody I was talking with who said, if you don't join the technological revolution, you're going to be outmoded. And I thought, I never want to be responsible for something like that. But our culture, our businesses are. That's why it's so troubling. But it's not going to prevent me from being able to still encourage people that are using it. I'm not going to think ill, because you're not somebody who is trying to necessarily harm other people with it. But there are people out there that are trying to harm with it. And those are the ones that irk me the most. You're not in that category, thankfully. But there has been a guy that has appeared in the streams before where he is like adamantly against people using their own skill. And he's like, you have to adapt or die. I was like, well, I choose death then. But anyway, that's the background. That's why I'll still hold to my ways, and why I also don't have any problem with yours. I think there's going to be consequences, but I don't think that those consequences are going to be felt by us yet. I think the majority of people that are going to feel the consequences are those people that haven't learned their own life skills yet. You have learned life skills. You're able to find a balance. Whereas a lot of people right now, they're struggling because they never learned how to use their own mind. And so a student that is using it, for example, to cheat on their tests, oof, they're going to really suffer from that. Just because they don't have those life skills that you have been able to forge, or the same way that I've been able to forge. That being said, though, the pushback is coming. And I think it's going to be a very angry pushback from a lot of people. It's already started. I was talking with some artists the other day, and I heard the venom in their voices. Understandably so. Because a lot of them, their dreams have been shattered. They spent their entire life trying to refine their skills, only to find out that, well, people hate them for wanting to continue to perfect their skills. If we can find a way to avoid the animosity, maybe there will be an easier way to find that balance. Maybe not. We will find out. Close. What is that? Uh-oh, not good, not good. There we go. That could have been very bad there. Take a moment to reset in here. I wrote a blog post last week that showed a side-by-side of my hand-drawn animated walk cycle and the AI walk cycle. Hand animation won, but not by much. So there was a guy that I took big issue with. See, you're someone that's experimenting, that is learning the balance of how to use AI versus your own skill. Woo! There was a guy who I took big issue with because he was the first guy that I noticed that had venom in him. Shad University. Shad University is an evil man. And I'm not saying that lightly. He's messed up. Lot of venom. Lot of evil intent. And he was mocking people openly. Trying to shame people for questioning him. And by trying to say that there was a slippery slope with what he was doing, he went on a tirade and then decided to make whole videos mocking people. His brother is Jaza, an artist who has done very well for himself and who is very much a pro. Well, Shad one day showed about how he made AI art, and it was humiliating. He thought it made him look big and tough and wise and smart and clever. But when it was all said and done, it made him look shallow and petty. He showed people how to basically create his wife as a 3D, as a very appealing piece of art with AI. He gave all the specs, and I was like, wait a minute, you just gave the whole world access to your wife's specs? I'm not sure that's necessarily what a good husband's supposed to do. But then he went on his tirade. I watched Jazza. Yeah, he is honestly, I really enjoy his content. I used to enjoy Shad's too until he went on his tirade. Shad mocked his own brother, Jazza. And Jazza came out with a follow-up. Uh-oh, wrong item. Came out with a follow-up to try and find the middle ground. And it basically made a rift, and it made for a online battle between a lot of people. That was when I realized that there is that the upper, I'm going to say it's like the upper class of the AI world has a very different outlook on life. There's very much a push for transhumanism, and AI is seen as like a gateway to that. Transhumanism is evil, horrible, evil stuff. But some people think that it's going to be a salvation for them. AI it's not an art question anymore. It's now an ethical question. And there's a lot of people who have noticed some real oddities. Uh-oh. Ooh, that was close. It's this ethical question that has really been getting to me. And I think very much that we're going to... I think the more we start to realize the ethical fallout, I think it's going to make the issue a lot clearer. Right now it's seen as an opportunity of great hope and aspiration for people, but it's not necessarily guaranteed. And it's that part that's not guaranteed that makes me think that there's something amiss. By the way, how many levels do you have kind of planned for your project? Yeah, Fallen Angel tech. It very much feels like that. Have you noticed? There's people that are like the AI trying to become sentient sort of thing. Now I doubt it's really becoming sentient, but it does act really weird. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh golly, he had the gook. Nine levels, very nice. It's a very weird thing. a while back, I had an opportunity to talk with a guy. And it was not about AI, but it was about ethics. And this was before we even knew what AI was. It was still science fiction at the time. This guy got wildly defensive about a position, one that nobody else agreed with him on. It made it very hard to dialogue with him on it, and I learned the importance of not letting emotions control a conversation from that. I still remember the last heated debate that I was a part of. And everyone was angry, everyone was shouting, and no one came away with a changed opinion. That's when I started taking on the approach that I currently have. I can have very strong opinions on something, but I'm not going to become condemning about it, because I realize people are on different stages of that journey. It's kind of important if you really believe in something, you want to share it with people. You want people to understand and to improve. If you don't want people to improve, that's when you start getting to the shouting matches and wanting to say, oh, I'm so much better than you, things like that. Oh. That could have been bad. Good thing I had the extra shield. Kind of like a Mega Man game. Ooh, nice. I never did that game growing up, but I definitely saw a whole lot of folks playing it. I always kind of wanted to as a kid. Kind of like a lot of games. I was not allowed to play a lot of games growing up. It's a miracle that we even got to play Pokemon. Oh, tricked him. Uh-oh. Messed that up. Oh, I messed that up again. Oh, shoot. Shoot. Oh, I gotta get rid of these things. Oh, man, those things are frustrating. Keep reset. Oh, hey there. Oh, golly. Oh, golly. Man, that was close. So I got a question in terms of AI. What's the point where it becomes a problem? I mean, you guys all know where it became a problem for me. But at what point does it become a major problem where it's like, okay, yeah, no, it's gone too far? What is that point? And you could argue, where is that point for almost anything? There was a guy who I was chatting with, and it wasn't about AI. Instead, it was about corruption. And we had very different approaches to what kind of counted as it. And we asked the question, well, where's the point where it's like, okay, yeah, it's gone too far. And no one could agree on what that was. And he has another sword. I miss the castles. Okay, there you are. Is it just me and you? It is. We're just going to be jumping here and there. Oh, got him. I can see your invisible self. Oh, you're inside swimming. Yes, I too can be Michael Phelps if I want. Yes. Hell, that was very close. Tea time. Let me turn the question around. What does there need to be? Why does there need to be a point? I'm not trying to be cheeky by asking. No worries. There is a point of breaking in everything. Absolutely everything. The first time I noticed this was a friend's bad behavior. There was a guy who was at school, and everyone just put up with his bad behavior. He was mean. He was very mean. We used to play League of Legends together, and whenever something would go wrong, he would blow up. He would have a fit of rage. Well, as time went on, it got worse and worse. Finally, one day, one of our friends hit a breaking point, and he could no longer put up with it. He quit. He no longer wanted to play with us. About a month later, the second friend finally quit. He left and never interacted with us again. Finally, I quit because he went on a tirade against one of our friends. And he said the worst possible things, hateful, evil things about how he was going to harm him and things like that. And I was like, nope, that's it. I check out. That was my point. That was my breaking point. Finally, the last friend and him were playing, and the guy who had the tirade quit himself. He just walked out and said, that's it. I'm never talking with any of you guys ever again. Every one of us had a different breaking point over a span of one semester. When it comes to AI, there is going to be a breaking point. AI is too much of a disruptor. People are getting fired. People are losing everything because they are being replaced by a machine. Now, funny enough, when companies realize that it actually can't do like some of the most basic stuff, they're actually trying to hire people back. But there's still a lot of places that are gleefully like, yes, we just want to get rid of you guys. We don't want to replace you with a machine. You know, my local restaurant, restaurants up here in Alaska finally started replacing people with machines. You no longer can order at some restaurants except through an app or through their touchscreen computers. I refuse to eat there. Why? Because I see all the people that are being let go. And I know people that are unemployed. And I think in my mind, that's a breaking point for me. Because it does one of the things the same thing that made me unable to play League of Legends with my old friend. He went after one of our friends, a guy who was innocent, and made horrible statements. I was like, nope, that's my breaking point. AI is taking the jobs of my friends. Of course I'm going to become upset with that because I'm a very defensive fella. I do not want people to be abused. In fact, I got fired from, well, it was fired / quit because we both sent the message within 5 minutes of each other. But I was fired because I cared about employees with the YouTubers I worked with. And the owner of the business was like, nope, you can't have that opinion. You can't care about their well-being. You need to just just obey orders, and that's it. I was like, nope, that's my breaking point, sir. Phooey. It's my breaking point. I do not like to see people hurt. I say that as I get put in 19th place. But at least I was the one who got hurt and not someone else. If AI were to come onto the scene and people weren't gleefully firing people, I would have a very different outlook on things. I honestly feel like AI already took my job. A lot of people are thinking that. At work, I've been resisting AI like the plague. And it's interesting. They've stopped using AI in a lot of things. A lot of the big push at my work for AI has disappeared almost entirely. I've not seen it be brought up in a positive way in 6 months. Everything has been turned on its head. There is a very interesting back push for that stuff. But anyway, the whole reason why I became so against it was because it crossed the one line that I have held for many things. The thing that got me fired from the YouTubers, got me in an investigation with Disney because I stood up from somebody. It got me in trouble when I was at school and I stood up for somebody. And now there's AI coming along and saying, we want to get rid of somebody. And I'm like, AI, I have already had a track record of 3 for 3. Let's make it 4. That's who I am. I'm a very protective sort of fella. And so if it wasn't hurting people that I know, I might have a very different tune. But back in 2008, sorry, my bad, I came across the first casualty of it. It was a professor of mine. A professor who lost a prize-winning position at their job and decided to teach because they were outdated. They were being replaced by automation. A few years later, I would lose, a couple of friends would lose out on the ability to make music because of the algorithm. A couple of years later, I would lose out on opportunities to, oh golly, I'm in a bad position here. I lost out on a position to work for an animation studio because they had put all of their workers overseas. And now there's AI threatening people even more. Oh no. Well, time to go to the water. Oh god, I'm not gonna make that. Never mind. So much for me having this clever idea to go to the water. I'm in trouble. Yep, in trouble. Oof. Let me ask you this. Do you think ego plays a part in the pushback? In some ways, yes. But the biggest thing is that it's hurting people. There was a company recently that hit the news. What is the name of it? Where 90% of the staff was let go for an AI. 90%. Walt Disney was famous for living on beans and rice. He was the owner of one of the most successful studios in history. Even in the time that he was there. Now it's even more so. He had that legacy of having a great media empire, and he was living off of beans and rice. The reason why was because he was trying to scrape every penny together so he could pay his employees. He wanted his employees to have jobs. He wanted them to have families. He wanted them to have vacations. He wanted them to love their work and to know that they were cared for. Part of it was because he himself didn't feel like artists had a place in the country. He felt like there was a lot of companies that were trying to crush the artistic dream and the heart and the soul of animation and cartoons. And so he wanted to make a paradise for animators. That was a level of leadership that you don't see nowadays. Bob Iger now takes half of the company's revenue. Half. And he's trying to cut corners by firing more of his employees, of which I got to meet some of them. When I was at Disney down there in Florida in 2012, I got to meet one of the animators of Brother Bear. He was let go and was replaced by overseas workers. He was an expert in his field, and he was replaced in a flash because they found cheaper labor. I had a problem with that too. But what I have the biggest problem is that when a human being becomes replaced entirely. So, can there be other matters that color my opinion on it? Absolutely. But the heart and the soul of it is that people are hurting. And I was in that sort of place before, and I know what it feels like. And I've had to be the guardian for others during some very important times. You know, one of those times, it was when a professor decided to go after a student, verbally accosting them and insulting them. I got very upset about that, and so I diverted the question. I said something that was controversial because I was trying to distract from the fact that a student was being picked on in a very mean way. It made the professor furious about it. And I got back to my apartment, and my dorm room, opened up my email, and saw a letter that was an email from the school's student life coordinator. And it said I was being put into an investigation as a dangerous and troublesome student. Months passed of having to deal with the fallout of that moment. When it finally came out that the professor was in the wrong, because it took weeks worth of investigations for them to finally figure that out. When they finally figured it out and the students came to my defense, or at least until they interviewed the students, the damage was done, and I was told by my advisor, we know that you were in the right. We know this professor was out of control. You still have to leave. We can't deal with this. I had to pay the price again. So I had a week to close up shop at that school and find a new one, because I needed to start the process of transferring credits. And as I walked out, I thought, you know what? Not only have I lost the opportunity to be at this school, I've lost the friends I've made here. Any sort of honor that I would have had for standing up for a student was pushed aside. And I looked like a coward running from that place. That's the consequence of standing up for somebody. I'm not saying that to try and make myself seem wise or great for doing it. There's a lot of things that went wrong as a result of that. A whole lot of things. I don't think it was good. I think that there was a lot of bad things that kind of came together. But that gives you sort of the understanding of why I have such a gut reaction to this. Because I'm a defender. I grew up in a military family that believed in protecting the innocent. And I got to live it a couple of times. When you've done that, it starts to become personal. So yeah, AI is a personal thing for me because of all those things. Have a challenge for you, maybe to help expand your opinion on AI if you're up for it. In what way are you referring? If you think it through, think of Jesus, the ultimate persecutions. He definitely had a lot of persecution and introduced a level of love into the law that many people didn't understand until that point. Huzzah! More Typhoon Blade. Try your hand at music with AI. I don't doubt that AI can make content, if that's what you're referring to. Reason to suggest music is it might be less personal. You're right, it definitely will be in the less personal category. See it as a tool rather than a replacement. That's a tough one. That's indeed a tough one. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting to me there are a lot of projects out there, a lot of tools that are being built with AI. And it definitely does make me wonder if in a couple of years, if it will still be highly used or if things will start to shift. I don't know. When it comes to trying to use it, I get very careful about it because I know people in most industries. I know some artists who have been impacted. I know musicians who have been impacted. I know news reporters who have been impacted. And I know researchers who have been impacted. There's a researcher I know who lost a lot as a result of it. They invested heavy into AI, only to learn that they had surrendered a lot of their critical thinking, and they lost the opportunity. It's kind of interesting to how that panned out. Oof. Recommend Suno for music. Duly noted. It's kind of hard to explain. In the sense of that, a life experience, sometimes it translates well, other times it doesn't. There's a life experience I've been having as of late in terms of the subject of AI. There's a guy that I know, and it was something where he uses it in almost everything he does. He's found great success. I look at it and I see challenges for it. And so it's something where we have two different cultures that are being forged. I think it's not really going to heal anytime soon. Trying to find a middle ground is going to be tough because the animosity is growing. And it's unfortunate, really is. I wish that it would stay more in the realm of good, healthy discussions. But there's a lot of people where it's hitting them hard, of which some of them are artists I know up here in Alaska. It's one of the reasons why I get to see it kind of firsthand. And then, of course, with Inertia, the guy who is lurking in the background right now, getting to see things like that. He now makes the 5th person I know who's lost his work as a result of that. 5th? 6th, my bad. I'm losing track of people at this point. Haha! Victory. Sorry if you feel bad of always harping on AI. No worries. I'm always good for a discussion on the matter. I'm never going to be swayed away from a subject. We've had some very deep subjects around here over the years. Some of them which have been covered a whole lot. Others not so much. Some that I would really like to re-explore, but only in the right time. Right now, we're in a time where a lot of people are highly impacted by AI, which is one of the reasons why I keep talking about it. I talk about it a lot, as you know. And so, I'm not going to try and tell you necessarily that you can't use it. But we also have 2 very different approaches to it. And I think that's probably for the best. We have 2 different approaches, and so that way we cover more ground. If there's a problem one way or the other, then it will become easier to identify. Again, no worries about the issue. It is something where I'm deeply passionate about, but I also realize that one has to be able to have sound ability to reason and discuss a matter if they hope to be able to overcome it. Oof. But it is something where I look at this stuff with a desire to want to understand it. There's a subject that I really don't want to approach, and I'm not even going to mention it because it's very, very troubling to me. But it happened one time where we actually had to approach the subject that I couldn't stand. And there I was, trapped, having to discuss it, because I have the mentality of I want to always be able to cover something. Even if I don't fully understand it, I want to be able to dialogue about it and figure out an opinion along the way, if there is that ability. And if I don't have one, then to try and understand from someone else their perspective on things. What times are those streams you mentioned going to be on? So those 2 streams are going to be next week, one on Tuesday and the other one on Thursday. The one on Tuesday, both of them are going to be linked in the Discord. I'm also going to share it on X. I don't share stuff on Instagram because I don't want to harass old friends who followed before I went to the streaming world. But we're going to be on Daramuth's channel for Tuesday. He's a good fella. He does a lot of interviews with people across many different industries. Honestly, when you get your project kind of towards the tail end and you're like in a good position for it, I would suggest I would definitely be the one to put you in contact with him, because that way it'll give you a chance to start to promote it in a meaningful way. Second one is with Dadman Walking 55. That one's going to be interesting, and we're going to cover one of my favorite subjects, and that is Sasquatch. We're going to be having some personal stories and some sketches that are going to be shown to help illustrate the experience. It's going to be interesting. I very much love that subject because it challenges the norm. Both of them, I believe, are taking place at like 4 Alaska time, something like that. So it's like 8 Eastern. I forget. Something like that. But anyway. By the way, I definitely want to reiterate I'll never, ever sway away from carry on a discussion. And so one of those discussions was actually a while back. It was with somebody that I had a viewpoint that I had to change. For the first time in a while, I came across something that I didn't know the first thing about. And I found out the hard way that there was something else entirely that I needed to pay attention to. It's important to be able to find things that stretch you. For me, that was one that had to do with economics that I was not ready to kind of approach. And it's made me get very curious about some ideas that I'm going to have to keep thinking about, because I can't have a good solid opinion on it until I know the ins and outs of it. But it was interesting to come across that. If somebody has a strong opinion, I am very much, I always find it interesting to hear what it is that puts them in that sort of position. By the way, that's one of the reasons why I mentioned earlier about what the kind of the limits are for something, because everything's got a limit. And sometimes we have to know what those limits are of where something crosses the line. And it's not necessarily going to be easy for us to sometimes come up with that, but it's important to always be considering it, to be able to have the discussion points of it, to be able to think about where our limits are. I learned my limits firsthand in some pretty tough ways. Some of them were in very humiliating ways. Oh, wait a minute, that's the goo gun. Come back here, goo gun. Oh. Oh, 2 for 1. Okay, he ran away. Man, this invisibility is a bit of a problem. Come on. Come on. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh, I messed up horribly. Ah, shoot. I'm usually not at my computer and running around at 8, but I want to check them out. By all means, feel free to stop by. It is, both of those streamers have 2 very different approaches to things. But they're both quality folks. And they definitely have done well over the years. You know, there was a streamer that I remember meeting a couple of years back. Oh, wait a minute. Quest neutral, I don't really care about that. Blah, blah, blah. There was a streamer that I got to meet a couple of years ago. And he was all excited to want to get into the industry. Mostly because he was trying to imitate a lot of other folks, and he leaned hard into this, just like many other folks. He invested heavy into his streaming setup, and he did not have the money for it either. All with the desire to want to be like, so to speak, like his heroes, the people that had the hundreds of thousands of followers. It's like, I'm going to do the same thing they're doing. And he tried. He tried for a long time. Eventually, it didn't pan out for him. And he was very discouraged, and he started getting bitter about it, lashing out at people, and sadly, I'd say losing himself in the whole process. He has my sympathy because he didn't know what sort of stuff he was kind of putting himself into. He didn't realize the compromises that were going to have to happen by trying to be a personality online. That's one of the reasons why I'm not trying to be a personality. I'm trying to be genuine as best as possible, because I've seen what it's like to try and have a fake persona. And, it doesn't turn out well. Well, he spent all of his time trying to be this other person, trying to be cool and hip like all these other big streamers. And when it didn't pan out, he believed that it was unfair. He didn't realize that there were a lot of problems that were happening with the stream to kind of make people kind of turn off to it. And one of those things was it was a lack of genuine care for either audience or other streamers. Both Daramuth and Dadman Walking are the exact opposite of that. They were not trying to become bigwigs. They were just trying to be genuine, kind, considerate people. Good quality folks. In terms of streamers that I can like openly endorse and encourage people to go watch, they're very high on the list. Very high. And oh, this is not good. Oof. Yeah, not very good at all. But both of them are very nice folks. I got introduced to them kind of in kind of random ways. I didn't think that I'd be interacting with them as much as it has been. But it kind of has been interesting to see. Both of them not trying to clout chase. Well, not like, not like compared to a lot of streams out there. Not clout chasing, not trying to tear down one person in order to climb over them. Just kind and genuine. Now, it has happened where other people try and do that to them, though, and they've risen above. They've been very level-headed about it, and so thus they have continued to grow. So to me, it's an honor. It's an honor to get a chance to go over and visit with them. Granted, they get to interact with a whole lot of people, and so I'm just one of the crowd in that sense. But it is something where it's made me consider just the impact that being genuine can have on any walk of life. By the way, with Daramuth, we're probably going to cover a little bit of Castercraft and some of the projects that are in the works. Dadman, of course, will be the Sasquatch discussion. And the rest of the week is going to be art for the update to the Star Wars intro. Oh, where'd he go? Whoa, what happened there? Yeah, that didn't turn out so well. You know, I probably need to compile some of the discussion points that I've had for over the years. I have a collection of videos, but I don't have them in paper form. I really probably need to do that. I need to make a mental note for that. Actually, not mental. I need to write that down. Just a second. By the way, with the game production that you're having there, Wolfie, where do you stand with the, if you were to put like a percentage marker on how far along you think you are? I tried making a game a while back. It did not go so well. %. That's pretty decent. That's pretty decent indeed. Now, while I never learned how to code a game, one of the things I did learn was how to do some pretty sophisticated web and JavaScript coding. And I figured out how to actually turn it into a game if I so wanted, but they're highly inefficient coding systems for that. Where'd you get a sword? Oh, I have a sword too. Never mind. I didn't realize. Oh, golly. Rats. This is my first time, though. I honestly don't know. That's understandable. It's kind of like the animation I've been working on. I thought it was going to be done in January. It's still not done. Using Godot. I got to use that a little bit. Honestly, I did like the platform. I did enjoy that. If I could be able to make a game, there's one game, well, not one game, there's two games I would really, really want to make. One of them would be a climbing game, and it's one that I've not seen anybody do yet, and it's one that I very much would like to make one day. I tried making it a little bit, and I realized I didn't have the coding skills for it, so I had to abandon it. Mostly because it required code that didn't seem to make sense, and so I have to try and troubleshoot how to actually make it work. The other one is a story game that would be fairly sophisticated. Problem with that one is that not a lot of people would probably find interest in it. There is a game out there called There Is No Game. It became pretty famous a couple of years back because Markiplier played it. And he didn't know what to expect from it. He had seen it on sale and he played it and he live streamed it. And what was interesting was that it was actually a really, really well done game. Top notch. Well, lo and behold, the person who made it had spent a whole lot of time waiting for it to finally become successful. The guy was desperately trying to make it work. He lost his home. He lost his finances. He went into debt. He lost his game. He was a true. It was truly like a nightmare scenario of how a game can go wrong. He spent so much time trying to make it. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into it. And years later, it finally becomes famous after it had basically rotted online. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs of the story, but that's what I found out through at least a commentator who looked into it. I don't know how accurate it is, but it is something where I have thought about it ever since. Just because I have an idea, for example, doesn't mean that it is going to work out. I can have an idea for a game. I'm like, oh, this would be really interesting. It'd be really unique. It would be top notch. No one has made a game like it before. Obviously, it will be successful. And then I saw that story. I'm like, the guy became ruined. He lost everything. Sure, did the game become successful eventually? But he lost family. He lost friends. I don't view that as a victory. I view it as a very big struggle. And eventually, things can work out, but it's not guaranteed. And that's one thing I learned from it, is that if you have an idea, pursue that idea. But the one thing you should never do is sacrifice family and friends for it. That's one thing I've learned from that. Ooh. Oh, he ran away. The ability to jump is so ridiculous in this game right now. I love the distance it can get covered, though. Ah, shoot. Games are kind of nice projects because they are big and you can set it down, then come back when you have time. I don't have any family or friends, so I'm okay on that front. Well, hopefully you find community that you can be able to embrace. Maybe after you make the game. You never know. You know, that's one of the reasons why it's one of the things that got me in trouble, actually, with the YouTubers. I won't mention the person's name because, you know, the person's famous, and I wouldn't want to hurt them. But there was a moment when we were together at an event, and this guy who they praised openly, the moment the doors would close, they would become hateful and spiteful against him, tearing into him. And everyone started clamoring over one another in order to tear him down. Well, I thought it was just going to be one person. And then I realized they did it to all of you, to everyone there. Everyone was competition. They would tear into one another because they thought that if they could get the upper hand, they would eventually make it big and they would get the top slot, that sort of thing. And so they actually had a very invested interest in wanting to destroy one another. I was in the room when the three biggest members of their team were talking about how to take someone out creatively. And they were open about it, about their disdain for this person. And it's like, wait a minute, you guys were like praising the guy not 5 minutes ago. The moment the doors close, suddenly you're trying to talk about how you're going to work together to tear him apart. Well, I protested that one, and they did not acknowledge it. They're like, hey, you're going to learn one way or the other about what it's like to be in this industry. And I was like, nope, I think I'm good enough on that. I'm not going to change ethics just for fame and whatnot. Uh-oh, not good. Oh, that's not good. Taken out by a Power Ranger. So this is where it gets even more painful. We were in the first week of being together, and one day they all got together and they said, we are a family and that we're going to have a family dinner together. And I kept thinking, you guys are tearing each other apart behind the scenes. Every last one of you hates the guts of the other one, and here you are pretending that you're a family. It was sad. Anyways, I better get some sleep. Good hanging with you, Jeff. Hope you have a nice night. Same to you, Wolfie. And by the way, just let me reiterate, I do not hold it against you for your endorsement of AI. I have my opinions, and I don't think ill of you for that. Just always remember that. Indeed. Rest well, sir. Hope tomorrow is a wonderful day. By the way, folks, if you're on one of the platforms that you can like or dislike the stream, feel free to do either. It very much is helpful. It doesn't necessarily need to happen for the algorithm. I'm not trying to chase the algorithm. What I want is that people are genuine. And it helps me to know who's real and who's a bot. It doesn't always mean that, but it does help a little bit. Even if you dislike it, at least it meant that you gave me some of your time and you at least found something to hold you for a little while. This is probably going to be the last round. We're probably going to call it after this. It's been 2 hours, which that's more than enough time for a solo activity. By the way, I got a project that will be coming out very soon. Right now, the editors are looking at it, or correction, people that are playing the role of editors for me. Oh, I missed that guy. Oh, that was close. Banana. I like the fact that we have swords and hammers on this map. I wish they were more common on the regular map. Surprise! Attack from above. Ooh, having shotgun. Haven't used that in a while. I remember it being pretty decent. Oh no, wow, he hit me hard. Well, Fist of Fury. Well, we're going to be calling it there, folks. We're not going to be ready on any of the platforms because there's not enough really to justify that. Mostly because let me put it this way. There was a guy back when I had on average about 30 or 40 people watching, because there was a time where that happened. There were people that would raid and they came with nobody. One person. It was the streamer. And they would come in asking for shoutouts. And it would happen. I wasn't going to turn that away. But they would come in, demand the shoutout, and then leave. I don't want to be seen as that. And so I don't want to unintentionally burn down bridges by taking that sort of approach. I did that once, and I regretted it ever since. So unless there's actually people that justify it, then there really isn't a need for it. So, but anyway, we're going to bring it to a close here. Like and dislike the stream as you see fit. Apparently, some platforms prefer commenting. That's up to you, honestly. But the big thing I would like you to know about and to remember is Castercraft. The site is slowly coming together. Well, correction, it has come together, but it's slowly getting the content figured out. And this right here is the next big project. It has taken me many months to tinker on this. It is not a super long project, but it is one that I am deeply passionate about, and I look forward to sharing it with you right now. The editors are looking at it, and it will come back. It will be available very soon. Anyway, on that note, we are going to close out. Have a very pleasant evening and morning, everybody. Be civil to one another. And we will see you next time, whenever that is. Rest well. And hopefully, you will not dream of the AI.